All right, I am B Rose, and welcome to Truth Talk. Today, I want to talk about the health crisis that is going on it's going on all over the world, but especially in America right now. So, not only is there a lot of diseases and chronic illnesses that are happening, but also people's mental health is just deteriorating rapidly. And I know this can be kind of a touchy subject, but I really feel like it needs to be discussed. So that is what I want to talk about today. Let's start with just the physical health in America. So, what is going on to where almost every American above the age of 35, probably younger, has some kind of chronic illness? Whether that is, stomach problems, kidney problems, diabetes, asthma, Alzheimer's, heart disease, people are having strokes. It's like, what is going on? Why is this happening? It's gotten to the point where when you talk about it, it's no longer something that's kind of strange and, weird. It's just normal. It's normal. You could talk to a 25-year-old and it would be normal. You could even talk to a high schooler and it would be somewhat normal to have some of these problems. But this is not normal and this is not okay. So we need to discuss what is going on that is leading to these health issues. So, why are these chronic illnesses happening and why are they being maintained? I'm sure you've heard the term, you are what you eat, which is really important in this instance because the food that we have access to, the food that is available to us, is what is causing a vast majority of these illnesses. Now, of course, it's not for every single one of them, but a majority of them. And many of these illnesses can be prevented if we take the measures to prevent them instead of trying to treat the symptoms afterwards. The American lifestyle consists of constantly being in a hurry. People are always rushing around. They don't have time to cook. They don't have energy to cook. And so they end up going to a fast food place and grabbing dinner probably 4 or 5 days out of the week. Sometimes less, maybe like 2 or 3. But I mean, this is every American we're talking about. And these fast food places aren't out to get you healthy food, healthy ingredients. They are just here to make money. And you really can't blame anyone for doing this because it's true. Americans are constantly working and constantly busy. There's always something else that needs to be done. And so they want to not spend their time cooking. But when you eat this way constantly, or at least a vast majority of the time, it's going to cause health problems because, once again, these people just want your money. They want their businesses to expand. And the food problem doesn't stop here. It continues at the grocery store. If you are fine with making dinner and you do have enough time, then you go to the grocery store to get food, or a typical person does. And when you go, what do you see there? You see prepackaged food filled with chemicals. You see canned food, bagged food. Everything is just full to the brink with chemicals. You don't even want to read the ingredients on the back. It's so bad. And so then people are taking that home, cooking it, eating it, and it's leading to health problems. And even if you are more of a health person and you want to eat healthy, you go in again to get produce, fresh produce, right? It should be good for you. No, it's not. Even the produce is covered in pesticides. It's genetically modified. A lot of it's from, Monsanto plants and farmers that are being forced to put this stuff on their crops. So everywhere you turn here, trying to find food, you're being attacked. Your body's being attacked. Your health is being attacked. So that is the first problem that is causing a lot of these chronic diseases and these sicknesses in general. Another thing causing these chronic health problems is the lack of exercise that Americans get. They just don't move around enough unless their job requires them to. But if if people are sitting in an office all day, they aren't moving, they aren't getting what they need throughout their day, and then, they probably just want to go home afterwards instead of having to go to a gym or go on a walk or whatever. And being so idle for a long enough period of time can cause all of these health problems. And then obviously access to certain substances can cause issues, whether that's drinking or cigarettes or, just an overload of extra chemicals in your body. But I think everyone kind of knows about that. And once again, I don't blame people for any of these things. I mean, people are stressed out and tired and they don't have time, and it's just the American lifestyle, and it's causing all kinds of issues. So, what do we do when we have these issues? Well, when you're sick, you go to the doctor. So, here's what happens when you go to the doctor. Here's the problem. You go in, they check you out. They sometimes will tell you that absolutely nothing is wrong with you, even if there is. And then the other percent of the time, they prescribe you some medicine, right? But this medicine is only to treat the symptoms you are having. It is never to treat what is actually going on. Taken from someone who has had several problems, several medical issues, it is never to treat you. This is not to fix you. This is to get you medicine that you can pay for the rest of your life, at least when it comes to these illnesses. Obviously, if you have a cold or an infection, you go and get a Z-Pack and then you're better by the next week. But that can cause other problems, if they're prescribing you an antibiotic every time you get sick. You take that and your body can become immune to it. Not to mention all of the problems that it can cause to your gut. When you're killing off the good bacteria in your gut, it will make you more sick. But anyways, these doctors will prescribe things that are only to treat your symptoms, and you wonder, why would they do that? Why aren't they helping me? Why would a doctor that is seemingly nice and, doing their job not want to actually treat me? Well, people can only know, they only have the knowledge that they have learned. And what these doctors are learning is to treat the symptoms. That is what they're learning. But I want to talk about that a little bit more. So why are doctors treating your symptoms and not your actual ailments? Well, like I said before, people can only be knowledgeable on the things they have been taught, the things they have learned. And where do you go to learn? Well, you go to college, which is exactly what doctors do. The future doctors go. Here's where the problem starts. These colleges are being funded by pharmaceutical companies. They're funding the educational programs. They're funding the textbooks. They're funding everything. They've got their hands in everything. And then these doctors are just being taught how to prescribe medicine from the pharmaceutical companies. And so sadly, when these doctors graduate, that's what they know how to do best, is prescribe you medicine from big pharma. They don't know how to prevent diseases. They don't even know how to give you another option. They can't even give you a more natural option or, and not everybody wants that, but some people do. But even if you want it, they can't give it to you because they aren't knowledgeable on it. They weren't taught about it. They don't know. And I'm sure we've all had that experience where we've gone into the doctor's office, not feeling well, wanting to know what's going on, and the doctor does a terrible job of explaining it. You don't even understand. And then they prescribe you medicine and they send you out. And you still don't really know what's going on, at least at a deeper level than just face value. So this is the big problem with our medical system. It is based on money. It is based on making a profit rather than making people better. I think most people know this information, but you may not know what all goes into it. So anyways, that is why people are not getting treated properly, and they're not getting the preventative care that they need for it either, to not even have these problems in the first place. And then they're getting prescribed medicine that has a million side effects and even more problems. And the cycle just continues, which is exactly what these companies want. They want to sell you medicine for the rest of your life. They don't want you to get better. They don't want you to recover. They want you to be a customer forever. Next, I would like to talk a little bit about a disease that I think we all know by now, and that everyone probably at least knows one person who has had, and that is cancer. This disease is running rampant in our society. And no matter what, no matter how many cancer runs we do, no matter how many fundraisers we have, it's like no one can seem to quite figure out how to beat it. And that is because cancer is another one of those illnesses that needs to be prevented instead of treated, especially since they only know how to treat the symptoms. So first, what is cancer? Well, the definition of cancer is a disease where abnormal cells divide uncontrollably and they destroy body tissue. Now, if you ask people how this comes to be, it seems that no one knows. No one knows how you get cancer. People say that it can be hereditary, or it could be from drinking out of a plastic water bottle. No one knows how this happens. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't claim to be, and none of this is medical advice. But from the research that I've done, there is several reasons that this could come to be. The first one is something we've already talked about. That's your diet. Now, it's not because you're eating a cheeseburger. It is because of all the chemicals that are in the American diet. The second reason is because of radiation. There's a lot of radiation in the world today, whether it is from your phone, from a cell phone tower, from even like your microwave or something. If you cook your food in it all the time, this radiation can affect you over time. And the third one is acidity in the body. A lot of people talk about this and how you want to balance your pH in the body, and if your body is too acidic, it can cause issues. So one thing I also wanted to mention is you can also have a candida overgrowth that can be mistaken for cancer. And what candida is a type of yeast that is found in your body, usually in your mouth or your intestines, and even on your skin. And at normal levels, this fungus is not a problem. But when candida begins to grow uncontrollably, it can cause infections. So typically, the healthy bacteria in your body can keep candida levels under control. But if your healthy bacteria levels are disrupted, the immune system can be compromised, and the candida will begin to overproduce. A few factors that can lead to candida overgrowth are taking antibiotics, eating diets high in sugar or refined carbs, alcohol intake, a weakened immune system, oral contraceptives, diabetes, or even having high stress levels. So, I want to talk about how people have been able to combat their cancer by targeting these problems that we just discussed. And the first one I want to talk about is diet. Diet is directly related to the pH levels in your body. And when people get diagnosed with cancer, a lot of times the first thing that they will cut out is sugar. And even doctors will tell you to do this, but they don't really explain why. And it is because sugar and grains and dairy and acidic fruits are all acidic to the body. So it makes your body less alkaline and more acidic, which in turn can cause these issues. So, some of the ways I've seen people combat this is first by cutting out those food groups, by cutting out sugar or by cutting out dairy or certain grains that cause these problems. The second is by doing something called the baking soda protocol, which is where 1 teaspoon of baking soda in with a glass of water and drinking it, and this will raise your pH levels, which will combat too much acidity in the body. The next thing I want to talk about is radiation. Sometimes cancer can be confused with or caused by radiation poisoning. And this is when you've been exposed to large amounts of radiation, which actually isn't that difficult in our society today. If you even work by a large cell phone tower, this can happen. Or, like I was saying before, if you cook all your meals in a microwave, or even something simple like if you're on a call all day, like holding your phone up to your face all day, or just every day consistently. But the way that people combat this is by drawing the radiation out. You have to get it out of your body. And one of the easiest ways to do this is with salt. Salt will pull the toxins from your body. And so if you want to do this at home, you can do it by taking an Epsom salt bath. And you just want to make sure that you soak for a while in it, probably at least 30 minutes or so. People will also take trips to the Dead Sea because it has such a high salt content, and it can draw out radiation or other toxins from the body. I want to switch gears for a little bit and talk, instead about just physical health, I would like to talk about mental health. I feel like as a whole, America's mental health has been declining, especially in recent years. Part of this has been the epidemic that has happened in the past few years, which has had effects not only in how we talk to other people, we don't socialize as much, people didn't go outside as much, and I think people got used to doing those things and it is kind of routine now. But those type of things tend to really deteriorate your mental health. Just being able to socialize with people or go outside and walk around, go to the park, get some fresh air, make sure you're getting enough sleep, those type of things can really put your mental health in a bad place if you are not keeping up on them. Another problem is it has become somewhat of a fad for teenagers or younger people to try to diagnose themselves with mental illnesses. I don't know why this is. I don't know if it's just to fit in or what. And obviously, some people do need help with these problems, especially children or teenagers. But I just see a lot of misdiagnosing going on out there. Anyways, I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to try to wrap it up. But I thought this was a really important discussion to have because this is a crisis that is going on everywhere. The physical and mental health of people in the world today is just dwindling, to say the least. And I wanted to talk about this because sometimes it's just nice to know if you're having these problems or have had these problems, you're not alone. And there are alternative options out there that are not big pharma. And I know that's easier said than done, and that the road to getting better is not always an easy one. But I also think it's important to bring awareness to the corruption that is going on in the medical systems, because this is the information that people need to know to make more informed decisions. And once again, I'm not a doctor, but as far as mental health goes, just remember the same thing, that you're not alone, and that it's always good to talk to someone if you're feeling just not your best. It doesn't have to be a therapist. You don't have to go to therapy, but, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, whoever you trust. Socializing really is good for us, and I think ever since 2020, we've all been kind of missing out on that. And just remember, it's okay to feel unhappy. It's okay to not feel the best, especially when you are awake to the things that are going on in the world. It can be kind of sad, it can be kind of depressing. But that's why we have Jesus. That's why, we can read our Bibles and pray about these things, and He will help us. And like I said before, make sure you're getting enough sleep, and, going outside does wonders. Just going for a walk, or like I said, going to the park. Having a dog you can take for a walk is great. Having animals in general, I think, is really good for your mental health. And doing something you enjoy every day. Just make time in your day for you. If you're a creative person, do something creative every day. Paint, draw, whatever. Even if you only take 30 minutes to do it, still do it. Just remember to, turn off the TV and put down your phone. You don't constantly need the dopamine hit that gives you. You need to slow down and enjoy the little things. And I know this all sounds very cliche, but these are things that are good for our mental health. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. I hope this video was helpful, or at least was a bit eye-opening. But again, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless.